There is a day on the True Word television.
Today is Tuesday. Welcome to True Wellness Connections.
A day full of fun.
I can see like the ingredient, the recipe is coming up like we are ready to really be.
Inspiration.
Be ready to listen. As you are listening, you are not just listening to the story, but you are asking for wisdom.
Education.
Don't begin to assume that when you go to school, your accent, nobody's going to understand you. They are going to understand you.
Guidance.
If you can make up your mind to say, I'm not going to allow my situation to define me, you will find peace.
A day full of true wellness.
It's going to be amazing, awesome, wonderful, and powerful.
Join these amazing ladies to talk health, wealth, parenting, social, moral, and community values.
You need people that will bring out the best in you. You need people that will believe in that vision or dream.
Claudine Salomo.
In this life, if you do not have hope, you will never live, you will never survive.
Victoria Masio.
When I say you need to look deep down in your bank account, it was me. To be honest.
Elizabeth Brimo.
A lot of homes have been robbed of joy just because of sex.
And Pastor Blessing Ngozi Heka.
Don't focus on the computer. Don't focus on your own one. Your wife needs your attention.
Do you want to be well?
You don't want to miss it out. I'm telling you, it's going to be fabulous. It's going to be amazing, and it's going to be really lifting.
The problem will be resolved and you have a fresh beginning. So you guys have fun.
Don't miss a single episode of the True Wellness Connections on the True Word Television Network every Tuesday at 5:30 p.m. Central Time. There is a day on the True Word television.
Today is Tuesday. Welcome to True Wellness Connections.
A day full of fun.
I can see like the ingredient, the recipe is coming up like we are ready to really be.
Inspiration.
Be ready to listen. As you are listening, you are not just listening to the story, but you are asking for wisdom.
Education.
Don't begin to assume that when you go to school, your accent, nobody's going to understand you. They are going to understand you.
Guidance.
If you can make up your mind to say, I'm not going to allow my situation to define me, you will find peace.
A day full of true wellness.
It's going to be amazing, awesome, wonderful, and powerful.
Join these amazing ladies to talk health, wealth, parenting, social, moral, and community values.
You need people that will bring out the best in you. You need people that will believe in that vision or dream.
Claudine Salumu.
In this life, if you do not have hope, you will never live, you will never survive.
Victoria Masio.
When I say you need to look deep down in your bank account, it was me. To be honest.
Elizabeth Brimo.
A lot of homes have been robbed of joy just because of sex.
And Pastor Blessing Ngozi Nheka.
Don't focus on the computer. Don't focus on your own one. Your wife needs your attention.
Do you want to be well?
You don't want to miss it out. I'm telling you, it's going to be fabulous. It's going to be amazing, and it's going to be really lifting.
The problem will be resolved and you have a fresh beginning. So you guys have fun.
Don't miss a single episode of the True Wellness Connections on the True Word Television Network every Tuesday at 5:30 p.m. Central Time.
Oh, hello everyone. This is another wonderful Tuesday, and we are here at the True Wellness Connection, broadcasting from the True World television station. My name is Elizabeth Brimo, and I'm going to be your host for this evening. We want dads and moms and their children to all gather together and just to listen to us this evening. We did a very wonderful topic last week, which is self-awareness, and we're going to do the second part this week. So we want dads to call their wives, mom to call their husbands, and everybody to sit around. Also, we will appreciate it if you can like, love, share, comment. We want to hear from you. If you have any question, we'll be happy to answer you. Oh, I'm not here alone this evening. I have three wonderful people by my side, and I will start with my left hand side. I have Pastor Ngozi with me. She's a child of God. She's a pastor. She and her husband, Pastor Chris, the pastor, daughter of Zion's ministry. We want her to say a little about herself.
Thank you, our viewers. It's always a privilege to be here on Tuesdays. We look forward to having a wonderful time. Like my beautiful sister says, look at the way she's shining. Despite the cold weather, I'm a pastor in Hika. I married only one husband, and he's touch not, don't even go there. And by the special grace of God, myself and my husband, we pastor House of New Hope Ministry here in Winnipeg, and the Daughters of Zion in Nigeria. And I have a beautiful, handsome son. Not available yet, but at the appointed time, we'll let you know. So hopefully today you are going to be blessed. So I invite you, invite somebody to come, because it's always good to have more information that will enrich your life and lead you into this right direction that you need to go. So at the end of the today, my wonderful friends, we are hoping that all of us will be equipped to continue going in the right direction. So God bless you, and while you sit still and enjoy the moment with us.
Thank you so much. We're happy to have you. And to my right is Mr. Patrick. For those of you that were able to join us last week, you can easily testify how blessed we all were last week. And so we are privileged again to have him in our midst. So can you say a little about yourself?
Well, thank you very much for inviting me back. And yes, last week we had a great presentation, a great topic of discussion. And so my name is Patrick Tshiovo, and I'm a counselor. Some people call me a clinical therapist. I mostly work with people that are struggling with addiction, relationship, stress, and complex trauma. So I'm happy to be here again to continue our conversation, and I look forward to all your questions as viewers, and to a great evening. Thank you.
You're welcome, sir. And to my far right, we have a very beautiful lady. She's Sister Claudine Salumo. She's a nurse by profession, and she's a child of God. So can you say a little about yourself?
Yes. Hello, everyone. It's always a pleasure every Tuesday. We are always looking forward to be here, to be connected with you in your homes. And I hope all of you are always looking forward. What does the True Wellness Connection have for us today? So please stay connected. We always try the best to make sure we keep our community informed, and we just want to make sure we have a strong community. So that's all about who we are. So we just want to connect with us every single day. Look forward to what we have for you. And if you have any question or anything you feel like you want us to talk, any topic of any kind, you are very welcome to reach out to us. We'll be more than happy, because if you have any problem or any issue, you are not probably alone. So we just want to be able to share what's going on in our community, so that together we can learn and grow together. So stay connected with us.
Thank you so much. Last week we talked about lots of things, but just to quickly talk about the summary, we started by talking about setting boundaries. And if you remember, Mr. Patrick mentioned 3 good things based on setting boundaries. He said boundaries must be doable, realistic, and it should be moderate. I hope I'm on the right path. And also, after talking about boundaries and how important they are to us, how needful those boundaries are, he talked about 12 needs for us as human beings, 12 needs that we all have. And I guess we stopped at maybe number 3 or number 4. So we're going to continue from that place. And after talking about these human needs and how we can address them, we have a question from one of our viewers, just like you. So we will talk about the question, and also if anybody have any other question, we will be happy to listen to you. We will be happy to share it. Whether it's a comment or question, be free to put it on our website. Okay, Mr. Patrick, we will appreciate it if you continue from where you stopped last week.
Thank you. So yeah, and then again, as a quick review, so last time when we met, we talked about self-awareness being this ability for you to see yourself clearly and objectively, right? And by doing some reflection and introspection. So who am I? Who am I really? What do I stand for? So that's kind of where we started talking about the needs, right? So when I do that reflection, what makes me Patrick, right? So what are my needs? What do I behave in a certain way? What do I not behave in a certain way? So what motivates me to take decisions this way or that way, right? So those are the basic 12 needs. And of course, each one of us is very unique, just as God made us very unique to each one. So we also have very unique needs as well. So I might have need number 1 as my primary needs, when Claudine, you might have needs number 7 as your primary needs.
Yeah.
So now, in a relationship, husband and wife may have different needs that are prominent as well. So that could create a conflict. But sometimes you see people fighting, you're like, why do they always fight? Because they have not understood exactly what are those needs and what role they play in their lives. So we talked about pleasure as being one of the needs.
Yeah.
Right. So when you have pleasure as one of your primary needs, there are certain things that you do. So people will go play hockey, they'll go play basketball, but then when they spend too much time with that need, then they develop an addiction to video games and stuff like that. So that becomes problematic. So as parents, you might see a little kid's like, well, why are they always playing video games? Well, that's their needs that they have kind of indulged in, right? We talked about food, the need for water and food, so which is very key, one of the primary needs that God gave us all to sustain life on earth, right? So we need to eat, we need to drink. So really important. But when you indulge into that, some people would go from drinking just water to drinking alcohol. And then there's the addiction, right? Or food, they take it a bit further to becoming a food addict, right? And then we also talked about the needs number 3, which was sex, the need for procreation. So we all have that need for procreation to continue and populate the earth. However, when you take it too far, where do you go? You turn into pornography and all the other social illnesses that people do have. Now, we're going to continue on with needs number 4, which is acceptance. And I think we may have covered this: acceptance, respect, nurture, love, comfort, and tenderness. Right? So who here doesn't want to be respected? We all want to be respected.
Yep.
So for you to be respected, you have to carry yourself in a certain way.
That's right.
Right? So then those decisions now. So if you have respect as one of your primary needs, you have to carry yourself a certain way. So you can't just walk in the middle of the street and take your clothes off and start walking and say, well, people should respect me. Well, it's not going to make sense, right? They're not going to respect you. You can't walk into where people are praying, you start screaming, they're not going to respect you. So you have to behave a certain way for them to actually respect you. So really important for us to keep that in mind. And the people that struggle with that needs, or they take it too far, they develop certain behavior that can be very destructive to a relationship or dysfunctional, right? One of them could be codependency, like people that really struggle from being accepted. I want people to accept me, and I would do anything to please them just so they can accept me. So they become codependent. They develop what we call a codependent behavior, right? And even if they're, it's hurting for them to be part of whatever the social group that they are, they will just pretend everything is fine, just so they can get accepted. So that really becomes difficult.
Mr. Patrick, please, before you continue, I want us to go back to need number 3, which is sex. When you were talking about it last week, there was a guy that was watching, and he has mentioned it before, but I just want us to talk about it now so that we don't go deeper in the needs before I raise the question. Now, the question is, he was asking, is masturbation a sin? Is masturbation a sin? Is it bad?
Well, that's a very, very good question. So now, and it's also very difficult to answer. I'll tell you why. If you read all 1,189 chapters of the Bible, it's silent about masturbation. It does not say anything about masturbation. Okay? So now, the Bible is where we go and find out what to do and what not to do. So now, based on that, what do we say? Is it good or is it not good? Because it doesn't mention it. Right? Now, what we have to do is we have to do a whole bunch of deduction now to figure out how do we qualify that? Right? So now, if I was to put purely my Christian hat on, I forget about the counselor, I'm just going to look at my Christian life and see, okay, what is, where does that fall into? So you have to understand now the way masturbation works. So, yes, you want to please yourself, but what are you using to please yourself? So your brain is creating imagery to see what, to generate that pleasure. Okay? So now, when you start doing that, so that's where the slippery slope becomes.
Okay.
Because we know that God tells us not to be lustful. So when lust gets involved into your thought process in creating, in helping yourself, that becomes sinful, right? Because lust is a sin.
That's
right? So that's where you have to be kind of careful. If you tell me, oh, well, when I masturbate, I think about trees. Well, yeah, as long as that is that, right? Then that, so be it. So that's your choice. But we have to understand that when you start using that to create pictures of other people, right? So what's that? Matthew 5:28, right? What does that tell us? Do you have a Bible there? Can you pull it up? I think it says that you should
Matthew 5:28.
You should not commit adultery, right? And
28.
if you gaze, like,
you want me to read it?
yes, please, yeah.
Praise God.
Amen.
Amen.
Come on. You're not preaching.
Oh my God. But I tell you that anyone who looks at a woman lustfully has already committed adultery. God bless you.
There we go. All right. So now you see that. So when you're already looking at a woman, in that way, you've already committed adultery, and we know that adultery is a sin. So now, when you start doing those deductions, then you can say yes, that's a sin.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. We want to hear our pastor's view. What do you think? Because this guy is single. He's not married. He's single, early 30s. So he was of the opinion that is the only option he has. He cannot go and be going around.
Women, but he can help himself.
So what do you think?
I wanted to say praise God. Where the mind goes, the body follows.
Yeah.
Just like Mr. Patrick was saying, if you look at it, it is a little bit dicey. Okay, if you look at it critically. But let's be realistic. There was somebody in the Bible, the book of Genesis 38. God killed just because they were having sex, and he pulled out his small thing. He pulled out his penis.
Just say it, yes.
And they was trying to pour the sperm on the floor. And because of that, because I believe he was trying to satisfy himself, and God was very angry with him. So when we look at the implication of masturbation, it's a sin. Because anything you are doing that will not enrich your life, that will not bring peace, that will not bring happiness, that at the end of the day you feel dirty. Nobody needs to tell you this is wrong. Because something you are doing, at the end of the day, if you get married, it has implication. You married Andrew. If you're a lady that have been involved with it, you have your husband beside you, but you are not feeling satisfied because you still want to feel the way whatever it is operating your body is a sin. Your mind is detached, like the way Mr. Patrick quoted it there. So you are committing adultery because the imagery you are seeing there is not, and you are defying your spirit, your soul. I hear people say, oh, I can't control it. It's like we are talking about the need. Oh, as a human being, you have this feeling. What stops you when you had the need to jump into the ocean? What stops you not to jump into the ocean? The Bible said, have self-control. The ability to have self-control over this seizure is a credit. So somebody giving that as an excuse, oh, I'm single, I'm not yet married, I'm having this urge, there is a tendency, tells me that you lack the fruit of the Spirit. And what is the one of the best fruit of the Spirit is self-control. The ability to feel it. We feel anger. Anger is a feeling. You feel frustrated, but still you are in control of your feelings and you have the ability to make decisions. So for you to have the feeling of sex is not bad. It's not sin. That's right. Because that's why we are wired. We are wired to have that tendency to feel honey, honey. You know, to look at the way she's doing her mouth. She wants to so the ability to have those sexual urge, because that's how God wired us. God made us. And that's why he said, this is the only way I want you to control it. And the unfortunate thing, when that person get married now, they don't want to do it. You see women telling you, oh, I have to satisfy myself. When they're married, one of the problems now is you don't want to have sex. When the men are telling you, oh, I have to have, when they're married now, you're touching them, they tell you they are tired. God, there is a specific place we need to satisfy it. Having the feeling is not a problem. It's not a sin for you to have that feeling, just like any other feeling. But what you are going to do with it makes it acceptable, make it wrong. Make it sin. In as much as all of us are sin every day, but because you commit sin does not mean you are outside the glory of God. That's right. Okay? I don't want somebody out there listening to me to be feeling condemned. So but you try as much as possible to have control over that sexual feeling and do not allow it to drive you. Because the more you get deeper into it, like Mr. Patrick was discussing about addictions, it's difficult to come out of it. It's difficult because nobody can satisfy you the way you have satisfied yourself, and it creates problem. So God bless you.
Thank you so much. We really appreciate that. Claudine, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, I think masturbation is not something that should be encouraged, because when you are doing that, you're kind of sinning against your own body. You are torturing your own body. So, and also, it's good to have the desire. Yeah, that's what shows that you are actually alive. If you never have the desire, you should be concerned. You have to see your doctor. If you never have the desire for sex and you never feel it, like, no, that's not how we are wired. You have to feel that there is a need there, but that need you have to control it. If you're a single man, you are 30 years old, like, you know, that should prompt you now to say, you know what, I need a wife of my own. You know, you have to be able to say, I don't like what I'm doing, and I want to do things in the right way, and seek to see how you can get married. Sometimes I always say some men who stay longer being single, sometimes I don't understand, because it's not all about being rich or having money or anything. It's all about love. Find someone that you can love, someone that you can work together. But there's no excuse of just satisfying yourself, but in the wrong way, nasty, disgusting way. So yeah. So we are not made to sin against our bodies. So try your best to find a life partner and pray. And pray. Because if you're not a prayerful person, it's very hard. Because your flesh will go in. Because flesh is always seek for pleasure. And it's something that pleases the body. But if you are a spiritual person, you'll be able to say, God, I don't want to do this. That's and right. You can even pray, God, can you bless me with a love of my heart? So because I don't want to be doing these things. But first you have to acknowledge that's the wrong thing. Yeah. Then start slowly to walk out of it. So.
Thank you so much. I really I really like all this contribution. What did you say? Mr. Patrick, do you have
Well,
anything to add?
I mean, it's a great, it's definitely a great conversation, and then I like the different point of view. So yeah, it's important that we do bring this subject to the table and discuss it. You know, like the person who asked the question, ask a very important question that a lot of single people are asking themselves. It's like, I'm single, I'm not married, and how does you know, how do I please myself? You know, because you know, is masturbation a sin? Can I try or can I not try? So that's a very valid question. So, and I thank this person for bringing it up, because as I say, of course, you know, those are, you know, you brought up Genesis 38, 8 to 10. So that's where that's written. That's fine. I mean, that's a good point. So that person could be looking at it from a different perspective too. So, you know, just because they're looking at it from a different perspective, it does not make them a sinner.
Yeah.
That's
It is
right.
up to us, the community, to help them understand it. Because if I was to say, you know, let me play devil's advocate, for instance, right? So, or the so-called devil's advocate. So I might see, hey, you know, like when I'm looking at Genesis 38, 8, so I might say, wow, that's a good point. Yeah, God punished Onan for that. But wait a minute. I think he punished them because he failed to produce an heir to his brother, not because he was masturbating. So, but you know, we can open a whole different
discussion on that.
Right? But how do we even get there?
Yes.
It's because one person asked a question, and this is where the true wellness begins.
That's
And
right.
because we can bring it up, we can discuss about it. So this is a very great question. And then, you know, the other alternatively, you can also say, what if we married? Is masturbation okay? And I think both of you kind of mentioned that too. Is, yeah, you know, God created us human being with a desire for sexual desires. You know, and they're very complex. Just like each one of us has a different personality, our sexual desires are very complex and unique to
That's
each
right.
one of us. Right? However, he also created us to be very communal people. You know, he wanted us to be with other people, not just by ourselves, right? So if you look at 1 Corinthians 7, for instance, St. Paul, Apostle Paul talked to us and say, the woman's body does not belong to the woman. The man's body does not belong to the man.
Yeah.
Right? So what does that mean?
There's a relationship.
There's a
there.
relationship,
Yeah.
right? So you're not supposed to be alone. And then we know the Bible tells us the husband will leave his family, the woman, right? And the woman will leave the family. They will become one.
Yeah.
And again, so those are all examples of how we should be sharing our experience, right? And then if you go to Hebrew 13:4, it tells you what the marriage should be honored, right? And the marriage bed should be kept pure.
Yes.
So exactly. So and again, that's also another opportunity to tell you that between husband and wife, there's where they're gonna go and enjoy that sexual desire. So we have to kind of be able to discuss this and explain to each other and look at it from different perspective and not blame at each other because I'm looking at it from different perspectives, right? So because today I might be like, I'm still going to believe that it's not a sin, and 10 years from now I'm like, wow, I remember that conversation and now I believe that it was a sin, right? So then that person will make those decisions when God reach out their hand and then touches them at the right time. So that will be up to them, right? But there's also people that would tell you, say, hey, you know what? I know for sure medically masturbation does not have any problem at all. It does not create any problem for me. It increases dopamine. It brings the endorphin in my body, so it goes down. So that means my stress levels are down.
But the Bible said there are ways that seems right, but before God is an abomination.
That's right.
That's right, right? But, you know, if that person's brain is only focused on what is biological, they're not listening to the Bible, and they are right with everything they are saying, right? So biologically, they are right. But again, so social function may be becoming a problem when, you know, as you say, you masturbate so much that your wife does not longer please you. So that becomes a problem in a marriage, right? Or you masturbate so much that you do not have time to focus on other things. So you're only focusing on masturbating, and then that becomes a problematic as well. Yes, for sure. You know, you're not going to go blind because you masturbate, as they used to tell us, or you're not going to grow hairy palms, right? But, you know, it's one of those things where you have to understand that, you know, too much of something becomes dysfunction.
Patrick, I have a question for you.
Okay.
Since we are still talking about this area of sex, and also your family, marriage, counseling, all those kind of stuff, maybe the question I'm about to ask is one of the things maybe you may have heard in the past. So I have had like a man coming to me actually telling me about, you Christian, there's one thing I do not understand. So the man have a certain way, want to spend quality time with the wife.
Okay.
So the wife will be like, is there any position in bed that is disapproved by the Bible? A man would be, I know I'm not talking about the other areas, no, sex in the normal way, but we're talking about now position. Because this man was like, every time I ask my wife, let's go this direction, be like, that is a sin. God did not create, like when you have sex, it's just the man is on top, the wife is on the bottom. It can never go any other way. And this man is so frustrated, seriously frustrated, and it just brought this issue. Said like, you so-called women of God, can you please tell me or advise actually my wife? Is that wrong? Like, I cannot have a good time with my wife because it's too holy, more than the holiest, that I cannot have a good time with my wife. So as a family counseling, if any couple is watching us that may have any issue in that area, what would you tell them? It's a free counseling, you don't have to pay. That's the advantages of following this show. You know, to get an answer to this question, if you go to see Mr. Patrick, I don't know how much money you're going to pay per hour just to get that answer. So please be connected and get that answer for free just today.
Yeah, well, that's definitely a good question, right? So, and you know, the Bible does not speak about positions. You know, there is nowhere in the Bible where it speaks about positions, right? And, you know, and again, if you go back to that Hebrew 13:8, right, where it says, you know, the marriage bed must be kept pure, right? So that means that husband and wife has to decide together what needs to happen, right? So it does not necessarily mean that you have to be on top or on the side, or, you know, it does not mean that. So they have to decide together what works for them. So that really is what works. I mean, if he wants a certain position that she does not feel comfortable with, you know, perhaps it's a matter of explaining and say, hey, you know, this is why I need this position. You know, can you try this, or at least once? And then she might try and say, this does not work well for me because it's uncomfortable. But to say that God say, you know, this is how you have to have, I would like to see which verse of the Bible that says that, but it's not written in the Bible, right?
That's
so
true.
it has to be a consensual experience. It has to be consensual.
And I will just add to that. We ladies, we need to grow.
Yeah.
We shouldn't stay where our forefathers or foremothers, what they were doing before.
Missionaries.
How do you know what I want to say? So that is what I want to say. Most ladies nowadays, and this is very true and so real, they stay with missionary position only.
You got it.
There are lots of different positions that are very amazing.
Wow.
So you need to discover. If your husband is demanding for it, let him teach you. Take the time to listen. This is what he wanted. So is not only you that you are in the sexual act. You are with him.
In it together.
In it together. So when he's telling you, now this man is taking his time to tell you. There are some people that may not even open their mouth. So this man loves you. That is why he's taking the time to tell you, this is the position I want. Try it, and you know what, you may discover that you will like it. So I will suggest to that woman, listen to him and do it with joy. You know, this is pleasure. Make it joyful for him and for you. So that is what I would say about that.
Praise God.
So our pastor, our pastor, what do you have to say?
Sex start from the kitchen, not in the bedroom. So whatever that is operating in the bedroom, go and check it. There is something out there. If couples that have a good communication, they have been interacting very well, the position and the style will not be a problem, because they will be able to communicate with each other. Because relationships is all about serving each other's needs, being a blessing to each other. So it's not about what your husband wants. It's not a battlefield of control. It's about what enriches us. What makes us happy? What can we do that at the end of the day, I will look at the eyes of, I wanted to say Pastor Chris, I will look at the eyes of, you will look at the eyes of your husband or your wife, I will be so happy. So the issue of the style of the position, I don't think is really the issue there. Like we always say, is to explore the underlying issue. Because if the relationship has been flourishing, and they have a good communication and they can interact with each other, that thing will not be a problem, because they will be able to listen to each other. My question will be right now is, there is the reason why the woman is a little bit reserved and trying to use Christianity as an excuse to move. So I will encourage the husband to explore, because I think that's an easy way out for the woman to say, oh, the Bible condemns me, because like what every one of us has been saying, I've never read where daddy said you can only go missionary, or you can go Egypt, or you can go goat, or you can go to, no, it said just enjoy. So it has to be with the couple. So let two of them sit down and just discuss what is really happening there. Because if you're really happy with your husband or your wife, I don't think the styles will not be an issue. So there are more, and I will encourage them to go and seek a counselor that will really help them out.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, Mr. Patrick, you can continue with the...
Yeah, that was a great discussion, and yeah, absolutely, right? And then as we proceed, you will notice that some of the point might be interrelated as well. So, you know, the next point we want to talk about will be that of relationships and belonging, right? So we're talking about that. So that's also another needs that people do have and develop, right? So, you know, when you are in a relationship, you want... We are made, as I say, you know, God created us to be communal people. So we're not made to be isolating. Just look at the experience with the COVID in the last 2 years, where you each had to go isolate, and people were going crazy. Like, I want to go outside, you know. After the first 2 months, people are starting to go crazy because we cannot communicate. So we are meant to be in relationship and feel like we belong to a community group, or to belong to a family. We belong with each other. So that really is not a need we have. Now, so the people that indulge in this or take it to the very far process with this, especially young kids, you will find that young kids might be like, this is my family, but I don't feel like I belong in here. You know, and it becomes easier for them to join gangs, because the gang, they know exactly what the kid is looking for: freedom,
That's
access to money, access to that. They lure them into it. So a kid that has a very high need of belonging and relationship can easily get pulled out into a gang, and there they go. Right? So that's one of our, you know, one of our basic needs as well.
Okay.
Okay. So the next one we all have is the need for security, safety, and justice. You know, no one of us want to be able to walk outside and then someone walks in and just takes your computer away or your phone and runs away, and you're like, okay, well, that's just okay. You know, you feel like, no, wait a minute, that's mine. You know,
That's right.
Police, can you arrest them? You know, we all have that. You want to feel safe that, you know, if you're at home, nobody's going to break in and steal stuff, right? So whether you're in Africa, you're in Congo, you're in Europe or here, you want to have that safety need.
That's right.
Okay? So it's really important for us to feel that way. And people that feel like they've been unjustly accused of something, or the world is not working out for them, usually tends to pick up political points where they become very defensive. You know, anything you say to them is like, no, this is not right.
Yeah.
This is this and that, right? So they're very defensive in that way. Or sometimes parents can become very overprotective. When parents are really big into the need for safety, oh yeah, they hover the kid's life. You know, who are you talking to? What are you having on your phone? And when are you coming back? You go outside, they go into your room and check. You go over there, they overprotective of their kids because they are afraid that someone's going to lure them out. Right? So they call them helicopter parents, right? So then that becomes a problem for a kid who does not see the world in the same difference. So sometimes mom and kids will be fighting, or dad and kids will be fighting. You're like, oh yeah, they don't let me play outside at all. They always like, every time I have to call them, and you're like, okay, what's going on? But you know, it's again the need for safety and security that's being exercised. So to a point where it becomes a problem. Yeah.
So, listening to you, how can somebody come to a place like the need for protection? Because we see some parents sometimes, you are acting, you are behaving with little or no consideration of what is really motivating that behavior. So how can a mom or dad come to a place to acknowledge that it's not about asking for the whereabouts of your son or your daughter? It's all about that innermost need of yours that you are projecting out there. So how can we come to that place to recognize that?
And again, that's where the self-awareness exercise comes in, right? So when you're doing that retrospection, you're doing that introspection, or as well, or reflection. You're talking to people around you. So, do you guys see me doing this? Is this really what I do? Right? So listen to what people are telling you, because when you are that overprotective, someone will tell you. Your kid will tell you, Mom, you're overprotective. Dad, you're overprotective. Why do you always do this? When someone starts telling you, what do you always? So that's your key word. Or if you don't like me, why don't you do this? Or if you like me, why don't you do this?
Yeah.
So that's what they're telling you now where the problem is, or what they would like you to do, right? So you kind of have to keep in mind, say, wait a minute, what are they saying? Is this not what I'm showing them?
Yeah.
So yeah, someone will tell you. But usually this becomes part, usually and not always, it's because people have this idea that they can control everything. You know, we are sitting here, you know, we cannot even control the next minutes. An airplane can fall into this building here and crash all of us. But some people have the idea that they can control every single minute, they can control everything in their environment. So then it's easy for them to, you know, overindulge with this need of safety, saying that I can keep everybody safe here, I know for sure.
That's very interesting, because sometimes we behave or act with little understanding of where that action is coming from, or we avoid to recognize that it's not about you. It's because of an unmet need inside of me.
Right.
And like you said, the self-awareness exercises is really important. Yeah, for us to really find out what is really motivating my caring or trying to be in control. That it's not that I really care too much, but just because something is, I have this need that needs to be met. I want to be in control, and I want to know what we are doing. And
yes, absolutely. And then one exercise that I give parents or couples in this situation is I will give a piece of paper here, a piece of paper there, and say, okay, write something that you know about your husband that you think he does not know about himself. And you do the same. And they will write something, and then you say, okay, now rate it. And then the wife will be like, he always picks his nose when he's sitting and eating. And he'll be like, what? I do that? Right?
yeah.
And then something similar, right? It's like, oh yeah. And then like, no, I don't do that. But then it's like, okay, well, here's an example of when you're not self-aware, because people are watching you all the time.
That's
but
right.
you were not quite aware of it, right? So you are picking your nose, you're picking your nose, but then they're like, uh-oh, is he aware or is she aware? But they don't know, right? So sometimes people would tell you. So that one exercise that I give people out there, among many, but just to get you started, right?
So even with people with controlling behaviors, so you think that such will really help them? Because we see a lot of couples that has this controlling tendency, and is maybe, I think you have touched on that, is because of the abuse or trauma they have gone in the past, and they are trying to suppress it and come to this place of trying to be in control and check, whereas it has nothing to do with what they are trying to exhibit. So what we are saying is this self-awareness exercise will even help in that situation?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. Yeah, and this self-awareness is huge to in terms of improving everything about yourself and everything about what you do. So it's really a big thing to do.
Yeah.
And if you don't know how to begin doing self-awareness, ask people around you. Yeah, and sit there and listen. Yes, they're gonna tell you some truth that's
That
gonna
is
hurt,
true.
but listen, you know, and then start observing yourself, right? So you can observe your behavior, your body posture, your thought process. You can observe all of that and see how things are moving forward.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, and then you know, with that as well. So when you're doing self-awareness as well, so you also have to keep in mind the next need. That is the need of purpose or significance. So we have this need of having a purpose in our lives. So what is your purpose in your life? Right? So we, you know, some people's purpose is, I just want to be a mom. You know, or I just want to be a dad. I want to love my kids. I want to love my wife. Or I just want to be able to build a house for my kids. Or I just want to, you know, own a big business. So whatever their purpose that they describe is, some people will be like, I just want to preach the world. That's their purpose, right? So it's important for us to know that some people have that as their fundamental need. Right? And when people go overboard with that, that becomes really problematic, because now some people might go to the point where I want to be noticed. So everybody here has black hair, they're gonna come up with yellow hair, you know, like standing out there, and you're like, oh wow, you know, you stand out of the crowd, you know, and they have the loudest car on the street because they want people to look at them, right? So then that becomes an issue where someone is struggling with purpose or significance. What is my significance in a community? Right? So it could be very difficult sometimes to control. Okay? Or they just want to be bad boys, you know. I want to be known as a bad boy, okay? Or I want to be known as the most expensive woman that you can rent in this city, right? So people do different things like that because they want to establish a purpose.
So how do you handle this tiny line between being noticed, wanting to be noticed, and wanting to be significant? So how do you manage that tiny line? Because I think from what you are saying, there's a tiny line between you want to be noticed and and you want to be significant. Look at the way she's shaking her head. So how can you recognize that and manage it? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and again, it's all about, like whether you're living a healthy life or not, right? So, and who are all beside you, because you have to remember that a lot of us take decisions based on who are all beside us. So if you are near people that are healthy and understand how living a life living a life of simplicity mean, they would tell you, it's like, oh yeah, you can be rich, but you don't have to drop a dollar bill every step you take. That's what's the purpose of that. You can be rich, and then people will know you're rich. You don't have to advertise it.
Yeah.
So you have to kind of be able to say, okay, who is all beside me and who are all giving me those advice, right? So that really becomes very important for us to be connected to our environment, having people around us that are healthy as well, that can help us say, hey, you're about to cross the line, come back over here.
That's right.
Yeah. So yeah, absolutely. And then when you do all of that, then you have to go to your next needs, which is the need for rest. Right? So we all need to rest, like we've had a very busy day, we come home, all we just need to do is relax, right? Even God, after creating the world for so many days, he decided to take one day to relax. Right? So that's important for us to do that. But some people take it to the extreme. I'm not going to relax. They become the workaholic. I have to work every single day. Well, because sometimes, hey, relationship at home is not good. So if I stay home, I'm going to fight with my wife. I might as well just go and work every single day. Right? Or if I stay home, I'm going to have to spend some money. So let me go to work. So I don't do that. So they use that as an escape, right? Instead of enjoying relaxation. Relaxation does not mean that you are lazy.
That's right.
Yeah, and some people have a hard time understanding that relaxation does not mean that you're lazy. You can relax without being lazy.
Do you mind to speak more about that, of how to relax without feeling lazy?
Yeah. So when you say to someone that they're lazy, so they're figuring, okay, well, it's time for me to go to work. I don't feel like standing up. I don't feel like getting ready. So I'm going to leave here at 8:30. I have to leave. I'm going to wait till 8:05 and start getting ready, right? So for some people, it might be like, no, that's laziness. But for other people, relaxation will be like, yeah, I've had the whole night. I've relaxed. I slept. I relaxed. 7 o'clock. I woke up. I need to consider the time to get work. I want to get there on time. So that will be a difference between being lazy and being relaxed, right? So you really want to make sure that you're giving yourself time to recharge the battery and not overcharge them.
That's right.
Yeah.
We want to say thank you to our audience, especially those that are commenting, liking, loving. There is a question here. It says, from Eric, what happened when purpose is mistaken for an ego? What happened when purpose is mistaken for an ego? And that's quite, it's always is a common occurrence. So can you expatiate on that?
When the couple is mistaken?
When a purpose,
yeah.
When purpose is mistaken for ego.
Okay, absolutely. And each one of us have ego. So we have that in us, right? And again, when you start overindulging your purpose, then you go to that ego place. And then when we say ego, it's very short you know, what they using for ego is egoistic, right? So that's what they want to do. It's all about me. So, but we all have that in us. So, and again, you know, is your purpose just all about you?
Yeah.
So, the purpose, we have a much broader purpose on life than just about us. So we have a much broader purpose, the people that we connect with the people we are in relation with. So that's where we do that. But if everybody else in the world does not matter, you know, they're not important for me. As long as I get my way, that's what matters for me, then that becomes ego. Okay? And that's very distractive, right? So, and hurtful for people around you, because you put yourself to a pedestal and everybody else is below you. Dangerous and very slippery slope.
Okay. Do you have a question?
Yeah, sometimes a purpose is really something sometimes hard even to explain. I can even look at, for instance, myself. Sometimes you may feel seek like to be fulfilled. Okay, like maybe everything may depend on your past or anything. I'll give you an example. Like for instance, I always like to study. I never have a chance growing up because of you know, my family could not afford those kind of stuff. So when I get here, to me, it was like there's a purpose in life I always wanted to fulfill. And that's why you see today I'm 50 and I'm still going to school. And sometimes I have my daughter always tell me, Mom, what's wrong with you? You're struggling with all these assignments. Why can you just settle and just be a nurse and just be fine? I was like, I have a purpose. I feel like I have something that I want to offer to this world. But I feel like being where I am today, I am just limited to Manitoba and Canada with the education I have. But I feel like I have a more purpose that I want to fulfill in life. So how do you explain that? Sometimes I feel like, am I crazy or not? Because as where I am career-wise, I can still put food on the table and really be happy to fulfill everything. But there's this inner fulfillment that I feel like I'm hungry, and that's posting my energy and put my family to struggle, to say that financially, because, you know, but am I being egoistic or what? Like, you know, I don't understand. Like, you know, financially, I'm putting like a chain in my family and into myself, but I'm happy and excited because I feel like I'm fulfilling a purpose. So I don't know, how would you explain that? Am I crazy?
So you're the one that asked the question.
I'm asking this for myself. Sometimes I don't understand myself, and sometimes my daughter will tell me, like, especially when I'm struggling with the assignment, what's wrong with you? You're okay as a nurse. You're making good money. And sometimes I'll be like, oh, this is how much money. These are the things that I should have achieved if I did not go to school. But I said, like, but I want this one. It makes me feel accomplished. So how would you explain that part? Am I being ego? Is that the ego versus the purpose, or what?
Yeah. Well, you know, it's yeah, that's a good question, but I'll tell you this. Most of us do not know our purposes in life. Most of us do not know our purpose in life. God knows, but most of us do not know. So what we might consider as being purpose might just be one of our needs that we're wanting to achieve. But your true purpose cannot be known to you sometimes, right? So let's say, just in order to explain what I'm trying to say, so you wanting to think, okay, well, yeah, I'm going to school and I want to go, you know, I want to get more, you know, like even it could be finish my master, get my PhD, open a clinic, and that's what my purpose is. So that would be your definition of that. For God, the definition will be, I wanted you to go to school at age 50 to show the young people around you that it's not late to get your education
That's
at
right.
any given time.
Thank you very much.
Right? So you can get that education whether you are 10 or you got 20. So you fulfill a purpose by educating them. But you were pursuing your needs, but meanwhile the purpose was different.
Yeah.
And whenever you see purpose, somebody is talking about purpose and ego. What I'm hearing is something fueling that purpose is beyond the purpose. There is a self that is fueling the purpose. Because when self is fueling a purpose, you want to prove something. You maybe based on what has happened in the past, and you're in that place that I have to show, I have to do something. You will see ego speaking, but the purpose is divine, and purpose moves with humility, because the purpose is not just serving you, it's serving others. Like Mr. Patrick is saying, God's allowing you to go to school at the age of that, because the purpose is there so that people will look at you and see a light. So it's really important for us human beings to always check what is fueling whatever we are doing, whether purpose of anything. What is fueling it will determine whether you are going to work in humility or you are going to allow your ego to override you, and every other person becomes invisible. Because when you are moving in the directions where that what is fueling you is born out of pureness or heart, of mind or spirit, you don't look down on people, because you see everybody on the same journey of trying to fulfill purpose. And you carry people along, you don't put them down.
And I just want to add, just to give you an example, when I was growing up, I was in junior choir. And you know, in junior choir, we have the soloists, those that sing solo. And I was privileged to be one of those that sing solo. Those that sing solo stand at the back. And you know, it now got to a time that I will be telling others that I have a beautiful voice than you. You know, they are not taking it lightly with me. Then I discovered that pride has crippled it. So I had to check myself. I took myself off to go, and I really sat myself down and I said, no, this is becoming something else. Because yes, they lift the soloist up, because any little thing they will say, sing first. So that, you know, there is a purpose why I'm singing, you know, but when it's now got to a time that, okay, no, we are special, our voices. So you need to be watchful. It's just a very thin line between both.
Good.
And self-awareness is important.
Yeah, great discussion. And then, you know, and I just wanted to mention, you know, the other needs we have is that of beauty. You know, we love beautiful things. You know, I don't know anyone that ever woke up in the morning and say, I want to wear the ugliest shirt ever. You know, we always look for something beautiful. Oh, I want to go to the worst place in the world to visit. No, we want to go somewhere beautiful, right? And we have a need to be amazed. You know, the need of awe, right? So everybody wants to see something amazing, because it speaks to us, you know, be it a miracle by, you know, God's miracle or something beautiful. We want to see that. And, you know, the last two needs are very important as well. The need for God. We have that needs there. So you might call it God, someone might call it spirituality, some might call it just, you know, religion. So we all have that need for something bigger than us, right? Or someone bigger than us, right? Once you have all of that, then your last need is that of wanting to be happy, okay? Content, satisfied, and feel as a whole. You know, as long as you continue to feel like something is missing, you have challenges. You'll be looking for it. You'll be fighting for it. You'll try to figure out what it is. And then that's where, you know, the whole life falls apart sometimes. So those are very specific needs that we have as human beings. And then when I meet with couples or families or individual, we go through an assessment trying to figure out all these needs and see in which way we can help them address them and help them grow.
Wow. Thank you so much, Mr. Patrick. We've all been blessed, and I believe those that are at home have been blessed. Sister Claudine, last word.
Wow, I'm really blessed with all these 2 weeks that we have been with the, Mr. Patrick, and this was a great counseling, like for us who are blessed to be beside him, and I'm pretty much sure everyone who had a chance to watch, to listen to him, have learned something, and we are hoping that as a part of your career, you will be blessing our community. You know, I know you do counseling, but this would be an opportunity to really invest in our community, your knowledge, build our families. Like once in a while, if you feel like something, God lays something in your heart that you want our community to benefit, please come and let us help one another, learn from each other, grow from each other, and God will bless you because you are using your knowledge, your skills, and to educate the whole community for free. For some of us, we cannot afford to come to your office. So we are so grateful for your presence here, and we hope it's not the last time. You will continue to be part of what we are doing at True Wellness Connection.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for that, Pastor Ngozi.
Thank you very much, the wonderful sisters and Mr. Patrick. It's good to have a man to come and have this discussion around self-awareness. Because if they're just hearing it from one voice, it's good, but you bring enrichment to it, because most times we behave in certain way, forgetting what is really motivating our actions. And for us to succeed and have joy and be in a good relationship with people and not just see others as the problem, we have to be self-aware of who we are, what is driving our behavior, of our actions, so that we have a good relationship with ourselves, with others, with our family, with our spouse, our colleagues, and to be able to enjoy the life that God has given us. So thank you very much for coming. It's been interesting and a rewarding experience, and I always look forward to look at my sweet sister, my beautiful sisters, because this program is always life-changing, and we are open. So if you are there, you have any question, there is a topic of your interest, just send it to us, and we can look into it, because we all want to grow and be our best and enjoy the life that our daddy has given unto us. So God bless you all.
Thank you so much. Mr. Patrick, last word.
Well, okay, I'll have 5. Okay. So, and again, thank you very much for the invitation. And you know, since we've been talking about self-awareness, I wanted to give you guys with 5 ways that you can increase your self-awareness. Right? One of them is create space and time to connect with yourself on a daily basis. Take a pause. Think about how your day went, what you went through, and how things could have been different and all that. Second is practice mindfulness. Okay? Pay attention to your inner state and how your body reacts, how people react around you. So pay attention to that. Okay? Third is journal your awareness. Write down. Because you cannot remember what happened 3 days from here. Write it down. Okay, write down so that you have a reminder. Okay, and fourth is practice listening. Okay, pay attention when people are talking to each other. Right, so pay attention when people are talking. You know, listen to them. Okay, and also fifth is gain a different perspective. Ask people to give you feedback. See. How about this? Did you guys notice me doing this? Or what else do you know about me that I have not seen about myself? So when you do that, you'll be very well rounded in your self-awareness. And thank you for inviting me.
Wow.
Thank you.
These 2 weeks has been great. It has been marvelous. I've been highly blessed. And I know the same thing will have happened to our audience at home. Talking about these 12 needs, it's so necessary for us to and we've been blessed to listen to Mr. Patrick telling us and giving us various examples. So we really thank God for that, and also setting boundaries. And we suggest that couples should please look into this individual. Look into this at work, in your personal life. You can set boundaries. So we want to say thank you for you audience joining us. We really appreciate you. Again, if you have any question, you can easily get in touch with us. And we are telling you that you should please enjoy this beautiful weather. And I pray that the Lord will protect every one of us. See you next week, Tuesday. Bye.
Bye for now.
God bless you.
Okay.
There is a day on the True Word television.
Today is Tuesday. Welcome to True Wellness Connections.
A day full of fun.
I can see like the ingredient, the recipe is coming up, like we are blessed to really be.
Inspiration.
Be ready to listen. As you are listening, you are not just listening to the story, but you are asking for wisdom.
Education.
Don't begin to assume that when you go to school, your accent, nobody's going to understand you. They are going to understand you.
Guidance.
If you can make up your mind to say, I'm not going to allow my situation to define me, you will find peace.
A day full of true wellness.
It's going to be amazing, awesome, wonderful, and powerful.
Join these amazing ladies to talk health, wealth, parenting, social, moral, and community values.
You need people that will bring out the best in you. You need people that will believe in that vision or dream.
Claudine Salumu.
In this life, if you do not have hope, you will never live, you will never survive.
Victoria Masio.
When I say you need to look deep down in your bank account, it was me. To be honest.
Elizabeth Brimo.
A lot of homes have been robbed of joy just because of sex.
And Pastor Blessing Ngozi Nheka.
Don't focus on the computer. Don't focus on your own one. Your wife needs your attention.
Do you want to be well?
You don't want to miss it out. I'm telling you, it's going to be fabulous. It's going to be amazing, and it's going to be really lifting.
The problem will be resolved and you have a fresh beginning. So you guys have fun.
Don't miss a single episode of the True Wellness Connections on the True Word Television Network every Tuesday at 5:30 p.m. Central Time.
Are you excited to be in the house? Let me hear you scream! Ching, ching, ching. It's the lover of your soul. It's the lover of my soul. Are you in love with Jesus? Yeah. My love, my all, my everything, my love. Angels are singing, singing, singing. Angels are singing, singing, singing. Yeah. Are you ready? Let's go. Wake up to the morning light. I feel your love. Every time you do show me joy. You're the reason I'm writing this song. Let me hear you sing. I'm in love with you, my Lord. Let me hear you sing. Singing. Don't you want the reason I'm singing? All of my worship I'm bringing. 'Cause it belongs to you. Always on my mind.
You are watching the True Word Television, spreading the true word of salvation.